Well, then, there we go. Welcome to Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm Howie Mandel.
And his daughter, Jacqueline Schultz.
And we have a guest today who I happen to be a fan of. It's the lovely Jim Breuer.
Jimothy.
What?
Jimothy.
Why are you calling him Jimothy?
I feel like, I don't know, it's endearing, right?
Well, you're very endearing. I'll ask him. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. He's in, as we speak, Jim is in Florida, I think. Right, Jim? What, are you? Whoa! He's on a. He's flying with the Blue Angels as he's on, and you're in the garage, is where I can tell. There's a bike and there's lawn chairs. You've actually left the and a lot of
stuff.
A lot of helmets.
A lot of equipment.
Kayaking. He was kayaking. I don't know how he found the time to do this podcast. There's one bike.
It looks like you live in a sports chalet.
Yeah. Do you do any of that?
I do. I bike every day. Every day I ride my bike around. Every night, nighttime I ride my bike. I kayak out in the back. I got a waterway in the back.
You have a waterway in your back.
Yeah. I'm in Florida, so there's water in the back. Jump in there.
But it's not a waterway that we are aware of. It's not like the Atlantic Ocean. It's not like the inner coastal.
No.
Okay.
There's no boats. Like you can only kayak on it. You can't,
Are there crocs?
What's that?
Are there crocodiles? Isn't that?
There's alligators.
Alligators.
Oh,
There's alligators.
Whatever. Same thing.
It's not the same.
It is not alligators. Same thing.
Yeah. Do you got a lot of alligators? Like, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no big deal. It's just in the backyard.
Sometimes they're right across the way in the back. I got bald eagles back there. So when you go in the water, the gators get freaked out by you. They take off immediately. The only time it's a little weird is when you're coming at them and they're above the surface and they just dip below the surface. Then you freak out a little bit.
Then why are you coming at them?
It's because they're all over the place. I like going towards them. Get rid of them immediately, and then they duck under the water, and they don't bother.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Do you have little dogs?
No.
You did, but they're gone.
We have cats, which I did not want a part of. This was going to be the year of, wow, my wife and I start traveling. There's no more pets. This is going to be amazing. And then we were flying out of Tampa airport and it was midnight and I'm trying to check into the Marriott in the hotel. And my wife, which I know very telling, went, "What? Do you hear something?" And I know immediately this is going to turn into a full-blown search for whatever noise she hears. And I said, "Hon, I don't hear you." "Oh no, it sounds like a kitten. It's not a kitten. Can we go check in?" Well, long story short, it was a kitten in the middle of the parking lot. One cat, and the one cat, she didn't want it to be alone. So a couple months later, now we got two cats.
You were chosen. You were chosen. Have you heard of the cat redistribution system?
I have not.
No, there's like a whole system that goes on. And if you find a cat, you've been chosen to be part of the cat redistribution system.
That's
it's
stupid.
like the whole
That's stupid.
It's the whole thing.
No, that's just stupid.
Right.
I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's. But so if your wife hears a noise, she searches it out and brings it home. What if it's a moaning homeless person?
We've tried that. It doesn't work very well. It doesn't work very
Because then you don't want them to be alone. Then you got to get another one.
Then you got to get two or three of them, and then then they fight over who wants the shower, and it becomes a thing.
Jim and I have a lot in common besides being comedians, and I was on his podcast, and he's got 3 daughters.
Okay.
Yes,
I have 2 and a son, and he was talking about
that's not in common.
What?
That he has 3 daughters and you have 2 and a son.
I have 2 of what he has.
Okay.
Daughters.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the trials and tribulations of raising daughters, and I told him the story about you almost killed me with your bad choices.
Did your daughters suck too?
No, they don't. They don't suck. They,
she's that's a description of how nice they were.
Oh yeah, no, not literally. Not sorry.
They no, they don't. They're just they're finding their way.
He took the door off.
Did you? You too?
Oh hell yeah!
Of all of them, or just the oldest?
Yeah. The oldest.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah,
it's always the oldest.
This is the girls whose door I took off because she closed it with the boys. You know what else he did? What else he did? When the boys, he didn't love the choices that they had made at the time. He went one step further than me. I was not good around your friends, right?
No one likes
He
you.
smashed their cars.
Oh yeah.
The friends' cars?
Yeah, the boyfriend's cars. And they never found out. They never knew it was me. It did it in the middle of the night.
You know, this is being recorded.
I said the same thing when I was done it. He doesn't care.
Oh yeah, I didn't tell you so you're talking about, is that the daughter that you stormed into the classroom with?
Yeah, and I thought that she had pot in a film canister holder, and I pulled you out of the class, right?
Yeah, and it was fish food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind. So what I did,
Uh-huh.
so I think my daughter was maybe 10th or 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
We were very strict. We were like, okay, and she worked at an ice cream store.
Oh my God, your daughter and I are the same person.
She worked at an ice cream store too. She
Cold
worked
Stone.
at Cold Stones.
Yeah. Oh, I love Cold Stone.
Yeah. We'll holler for $1.
Oh my God, I love that place. So she's working it. She's seen the boyfriend, and then it turned into, it's a school night. So a big thing is like, school night, we're not hanging out with him. And, can the boyfriend drive me home? Now we're like a mile and a half away. I'm not, he's right across the street. Okay. Now I know she gets off at the time, probably 8 p.m., whatever it was. It's going on 8:20, going on 8:30. What's going on 8:40? I go, you know what? Okay. There's only 2 places you can park in this town. And I got in my car, and sure enough, found the place where it was parked. I parked in front of the car, jumped out of the car, opened up the door, and she's like, Dad, Jesus Christ. And I was like, get the fuck out. Oh, I lost my, get the fuck out. Does he know that you're supposed to be home by 6:15 and it's a weeknight and it's doing anything? He's like, no, I didn't know. So now you know. Get out of the fucking. Oh yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I lost my. Yeah, it was bad.
That was me every day. But I was
Mom had to lock you in the room when my boyfriend would come over because he wanted to beat him up all the time, right?
And I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
No,
I'm a lover too. It's very difficult with daughters when you just know. You size up the boy immediately.
One of the boys, I won't mention names because he might listen to this, but he was studying computer science or doing something with computers, and he informed me, like he goes, listen what I'm doing. I'm gonna quit computers. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna work at the mall at the Sunglass Hut. I go, well, you really think that's a good decision? He goes, yeah.
It was a kiosk, the sunglass kiosk.
At the kiosk.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't the store.
Yeah.
And I said, do you think this is a good idea? He goes, you want to hear my logic? I said, I want to hear you. I don't know if the word logic is going to play. He said, computers are going to be over soon, but there's always going to be the sun. And didn't he say that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, really seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, he figured it out. He fucking figured it out.
Yeah.
And I go, this is what you chose.
That's the one. I left the boyfriend before that.
Oh, wanted to be a policeman.
Yeah, so he could drive.
Wait. So I'll
Okay,
tell
go
that
ahead.
one. So she brings it, because I wanted to kind of size these up. You brought that guy home.
Yeah.
And I said, so what do you have any aspirations for the future? And he goes, yeah, I want to be a policeman. Well, even the fact that he said, I want to be a policeman. Like, I get, if you want to be a cop, you want to be a police force, you want to be in law enforcement, that's how you say it. The fact that you're saying, I want to be a policeman makes you sound like you're fucking 4 years old. And I said to him, why do you want to be a policeman? And he said, because you could drive really fast. And I said, I don't know what she's, where she goes to find these winners, but just I don't know if she was. It was part of the Big Brother program, special needs people that you were gathering for possible.
And then the next one after that, after those two,
was
whenever he wouldn't wear a belt, but whenever his pants were falling down, he would wear sweatpants, and he would just put the drawstring over his head,
around his neck. So he had the waist of these giant sweatpants. The waist was under his armpits. He'd wear that. I go, look at him. He's like hiding in a bad sack of potatoes. And that was, but he's really serious, right? And
he's really smart though. He is really smart.
Really?
That one's really smart.
That one's smart? That's the smart one? But I was telling them, so it was really hard. Do you have a good relationship with your kids?
Oh no, I do. I got a good relationship with them. Yeah, I mean, shoot, one's graduating. We fly up tomorrow. She's graduating UDEL. Well, graduating, but not really. I got that call about a week ago. It's like, Dad, I'm graduating. Yeah, but I didn't pass all the classes. What are you talking about? Well, they're gonna let me do the walk, but I still gotta take it. Like, oh my God.
So she does the
walk.
walk.
That means you had to pay for another semester, right? To redo classes.
Well, she's got to do the last one online. But yeah, so you got to pay for that sucker. But I think I'm going to make her pay for that. Like, come on, man.
But if she goes up on the walk, they don't hand her anything?
No,
Is that
they do.
Yeah, no, she gets it. They're going to hand her the diploma, but it's like.
So fuck them. Fuck them. I wouldn't even take the other classes. What do you really.
See, that's the way I am. That's what I said. It's okay, you just walk away. You got it in your hand.
Right.
And you go to job and you go bang right there.
And you show them.
They're not going to go, rumor has it there was one class you didn't really pull through. I don't think it's going to go down like that.
I actually don't think they give you your diploma when you're walking up there. They give you a piece of paper, but they end up mailing you the actual diploma later on, if I remember correctly.
But if they give you, what does it say on the paper?
I forget, like congratulations. Like
I owe you.
It's just like a congratulations on graduating.
You owe me another semester. As I say, congrats, almost.
So
almost.
Jim Breuer has a long and illustrious career as a stand-up. He was on SNL. He's been in movies. And you're touring a lot right now. Go to jimbreuer.com.
Live dates, yeah.
Well, yeah, live dates.
Yeah.
You are, without getting into it, because that's not what this podcast is about, but you have a controversial views. Do you not consider that because you're in a business that for all intents and purposes and not whether it's left or right or whatever, it is a business where you want to garner the biggest audience that you possibly can garner. Do you not consider sometimes not sharing some of the
No. I used to and then when COVID hit, all bets are off for me. I'm the type of guy that we'll say conspiracy, however you want to label it.
Is it conspiracy?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just in my opinion, I think it's more of you don't want to acknowledge. If for certain things, certain people just don't want to acknowledge it for whatever reason. They don't believe in the boogeyman. It's too much to handle. I can't wrap my head around that, and that's fine and okay.
Right.
But I'm not gonna appease any culture or industry because of that. I'm not gonna break my moral or my thought process, my moral code of thought process any longer.
Is it breaking moral thought, I'm kind of in the dark, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Okay.
But based on what I am understanding, is it really breaking some sense of moral? You have your opinion. I'm talking to my dad right now that he has his opinions. He's not breaking his moral compass, but he chooses not necessarily to discuss it on a platform. Like to his friends, his family, whoever it is who's close to him knows exactly how he feels. He's never veered from how he feels and who he is, but to speak about it on a platform when it's going to affect
your possibility.
Business.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not talking about what necessarily what your thought process is. I respect what you say, and even if what you say is not something I agree with, and I believe, and I think we've lost this in America, is the fact that it's become so. There's a lot of hate and polarizing to the point is we are supposed to be a multi-party system. We are supposed to have different opinions. We're supposed to be able to discuss freely another point of view, which doesn't align with whatever you think, whether it's religious, whether it's political, whether it's sexual orientation, no matter what it is. What happens, though, is what I've noticed, and I choose openly to be on a broadcast network. I love doing AGT. I work for NBC, who is advertisers. I don't want to get political or anything because I'm trying to cast my net as broad as possible. So I'm not agreeing with everybody, but I'm not disagreeing with anybody either. So I'm just talking about the ability to speak about something that could be polarizing, which you have started doing since COVID.
Yes. And I think part of the reason is because someone like yourself, you do have to worry. At the end of the day, you do have to worry. You do have to worry about what you say.
Right.
Howie Mandel, in my opinion, cannot start going on certain talk shows and going, I believe XYZ and I believe in that, because someone's going to go, he's got to go. It doesn't fall in our alignment. I haven't had that in years, so I have nothing. I can't be canceled. The only people that can cancel me is my audience, and so I don't fear it. And,
but do you not think? Do you not think you're saying that? But that's up for discussion. The audience is possibly the most important thing that we have. Yes. Do you not think that a portion of your audience canceled you?
Oh, without doubt. 100%.
So does
without
that,
doubt.
And
but at the same time, an entire different group came along. So the ones that said, "Hey man, I really respect what you're doing," stayed. The ones that didn't, they say what they say. They say crazy comments. Your dead father would be ashamed. They say the craziest things. But then this entire other group that thought the same way said, "Hey man, we got you back." And then what I also noticed was an audience that knew nothing about me showed up. And they said, "I don't know who the hell you were, but I respected X, Y, and Z. So now I'm going to follow you because I really like the things you've been saying and what you've been putting out there." And I also, to be dead honest with you, when COVID first hit, I would make these videos, and they were more spiritual and godly stuff. I was petrified of putting that out there. I thought it was going to be extremely vulnerable, and I did feel I was going to lose a lot of people. Like, oh, is he a freak now? And maybe I am a freak. But what I got, which to me is 10 times better for me, is not just, "Oh my God, you're funny." It was, "You saved my life during that time. You're the only thing that kept me going during that time. I'd watch your videos, and I can't tell you how much that made to me." And when I tell you how many people continually come up to me, that made me realize, hey, listen, I don't want to be I don't want to be the guy like, hey, I'm the guy that, because I hate doing that with anything. And I had to fight that the last couple of years of being put over here. Oh, you're this guy, or you're that guy, or you're I'm like, no, I'm not that guy. That became more of my calling, Howie. And to be honest with you, for years and years and years, I had a deeper spiritual thing that I wanted to put out there, like, stories that have happened in my life. And even with my daughter, with the name of my daughter, like all these things where people will go, I'm not religious, but I can relate to that story you told. And that's a very powerful story you told. And I noticed, and I was always afraid to put that out there because people are so intentional in labeling and putting you in certain places. So when I was well aware that I was going to lose people, but at the same time, I felt so strongly about it that I wasn't worried about it as long as I believed in my heart of hearts it was truth, my truth, and what I saw was truth, and my intention was coming from a good place rather than like, you make it more of a, hey man, this is how I really feel, and this is coming from a loving place. And if you get it,
is this because
okay?
Is this because you said you were triggered at the time of COVID? Is that because it was such a scary thing, and you thought, I just got to go for it at this time? Is that what is it?
First, the COVID. What really went down was first I made videos. I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. All right, I was in. You're talking to someone that just finished. I was doing meet and greets every night. I was in hotels every night. I was on planes every day. I was in rent-a-cars every day. I'm meeting 40 people a night, 100 people a night. I just was with a band, all the bands that were on tour. None of us got sick. None of us died. And all of a sudden, the world just shut.
Right.
And I'm not saying people didn't die, but I also know that me personally, I took antibiotics and it went away. You weren't even allowed to say something like that. And so, in my opinion, I thought it was purely demonic evil, and it could have been, a lot of lives could have been saved. A lot of information was hidden. And that, in my opinion, is a very dark intention.
Would you accept the fact that even the people that you think, or the facts that you have today, don't you think that most of those people would say, hey, we made a mistake. We were learning as it goes along. I think the difference between these conspiracies, and I'm using that word because I don't know, is your, and we can't know, what I glean from sometimes what you have said is that it was totally evil and intentional, as opposed to, we don't know, this is scary, this is going by leaps and bounds, you got to do this right now. Like, I think everybody would admit, and on every level, they didn't need the lockdown. And if, God forbid, it happened again, they wouldn't lock you down. I think that they were making a lot of assumptions based on real-time events as it was happening. And it's not this dark, evil force trying to fuck with you.
I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is the following. When you know whatever you're treating people with is killing them, how many have to die before you go, maybe this ain't working? That's number one. Number two, things that people don't remember is everyone was so viciously foaming at the mouth for, at the time, whatever, the president at the time, to come help. And he sent in naval ships. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And naval ships because the hospitals were overcrowded and people are dying everywhere. And we need your help now. And so he sent in, there were naval ships in Jersey, New York, California. And you know what happened to those naval ships?
No.
They left. And when they asked why'd they leave, this is how powerful news was, in my opinion. Why would you send in military ships to save people and they weren't needed? So that was a major red flag.
Well, they were there,
and no one questioned it.
They were there.
They
were there. Well, I mean, let's take it as it was in case it was needed, and then it turned out it wasn't needed, so they backed away. Right.
And here's my other situation.
Okay.
When you're on the news and you're shaming people, you're bullying people, you're insulting people, that is a written agenda. That is written, it is produced, and it is
you realize what you're saying is something that I agree with, but I think that exists on both sides. You know, I come from a time, I'm a little bit older than you, where somebody would give me facts. You know, Walter Cronkite would give me facts, and then I and whoever I wanted to discuss with would decide how we want to view those facts. I don't want to know when you give me a fact, and along with that fact, I understand how you're leaning or what side you're on, or you're villainizing the other side. And I'm not saying one side is better than the other. I think that goes, I have a problem with CNN and Fox equally.
Oh, God, I hate them both.
Me too. So
I hate all news.
So what I'm saying is, in talking to friends who are doctors and were not part of the political movement, you know, they'll stand with you right now and say, you know, thousands of mistakes were made. Thousands of scenarios that were kind of put out there were totally wrong. I guess where I'm disagreeing with you, and I'm putting that a lot strongly than I am, is that there was this dark, evil plan to fuck us over.
I disagree, and I respect your opinion. Here's where my issue really lies. If you're going to sell a concept, two things. I want to bring up Joe Rogan. I want to bring up President Biden.
Okay.
When your president tells you, if you take this shot, you will not, quote, you will not get COVID, which every single news channel ran with great authority.
Well, that's not what I heard. Now, so I heard that if you take this shot, you will not get the. It could possibly make it a little less damaging.
I'll send you the videos.
It was understood. It was understood that if you took the shot, you were fine. I don't think people realized or knew, or it didn't come off as though it was going to be like a flu shot where you'd need a booster every few months or every year. Like, I don't think that was understood when it first came out.
When it first came out. Okay. And that's what he was told.
I think that people thought it was going to be like the polio vaccine.
Right.
Or like the MMR. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was the understanding.
But here's where the major issue for me, again, raises. And this has nothing to do with, and I hate that he's the one that mentioned it. When Trump brought up hydrochloroquine and ivermectin, everyone played him as a fool. When Joe Rogan put out in the world that he took ivermectin and whatever else he took,
and he did well.
And he did well. Here's when I caught the boogeyman and when the world caught the boogeyman. If we're in a village together or just living in your house, Howie,
right,
and your neighbor says, hey, you're all going to die unless, everyone's dying, but we have to wait to get the shot. And then all of a sudden your daughter goes, hey, Dad, I didn't take the shot, but I had some peanut butter and I went roller skating. I don't know why I went, and I juggled and it went away. Don't you think for 1 second, the entire medical community, the news community, political community would stop and go, huh, if that can save lives, but what did they all do?
No. I'm agreeing.
Demonized it.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but here's where I'm disagreeing.
What intention is that?
Before COVID, we as a nation, and maybe even as a world, I can't speak for outside of the United States. We as a nation have demonized any different thinking than whatever is put out there. As soon as somebody says something to the contrary, not only do we disagree with it, we attach a conspiracy to it. We attach hate and vitriol to it. And that's where the problem is. Now here, I think within we used to, at some point, kind of listen to the experts. And the experts, and as far as science goes, science is not a finite thing. Science is always learning. Science is always changing. Medicine is always growing. I believe that there was a school of thought that was put out there. I'm not a science major. I know nothing about it. It turns out that that school of thought was not totally right. I think any side would agree. It wasn't totally right. You probably could get by without being locked down. You may have been able to get by. I don't know the exact numbers on vaccines, but vaccine may have helped us. I don't know. All I'm saying to you is if somebody came out, and I agree with you, if somebody said, hey, I took this and it bothered and it cured me, there's no reason to have that kind of vitriol. And as much as you're talking about that, we are a louder nation now because of social media. As much as Joe Rogan took a big hit for that, he didn't really take a big hit. He's still getting $100 million from Spotify. He's still on the air. So I don't really feel bad for the hit that he had, and maybe he was right about what helped him. So I will give you that. But what I'm saying is, to make it seem like this, demonic, in the same way that people of Hollywood were put into that, what do they call us? Where they did the pizza, what's the pizza thing? What do they think we are?
Pizzagate? Pizzagate?
With the pedophiles and So, so it's kind of
Jews in Hollywood, the same way they look at Jews. We're vilified.
Well, yeah, we are also. But the same way as we need to string an opposing opinion to something much more powerful and sinister than it actually is.
I just don't know if I buy that.
I think people still believe in Pizzagate.
Go ahead, sorry.
I think people still believe in Pizzagate. I don't think that was I think that's still going on.
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
The Isaac Cappy videos are interesting. I don't know if you've seen those videos, but Isaac Cappy put out some heavy names in his videos, and he made a string of videos of talking about who's who, and he put some serious names out there, and then of course he died. But so I don't know why people write that off immediately just because you saw it on the news or like, yeah, it's not. See here, there are certain images that are quite disturbing that come out of there. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I don't know anything about them. But back to the other one. Why do we, like, if you want to take Wuhan, why are you studying, why do you have patents for viruses? Why would you have a patent on a virus?
Because that makes sense to me, because a virus can be manufactured in a lab.
Why is it being manufactured? For what intention?
For the same reason, for two reasons. For the same reason that nuclear arms are being manufactured, because they are great weapons of destruction, and also for or defense, and there are also opportunities to. By creating a virus, you may be able to figure out how to eliminate a virus, because you create a monster, you learn how to fight the monster. You don't buy that?
No, I don't buy that. It's never a good intention. I don't buy that they're studying these things in the long run, milking millions and millions of dollars every year, and then all of a sudden,
well, if you look at COVID, COVID is just another incarnation of the rhinovirus of what the common cold is. It's just, amplified much more. So our virus and our flus are mutating on their own. If we can grasp and get control and figure out how to do that ourselves, we can also maybe figure out how to eliminate it.
It's a lot of time and energy trying to figure out something we'll never really understand, and something that's been around for a long time, and we could spend a lot of money on some other pure things, how to take care of one another.
Hey, listen, I will 100% agree with you that the way we allocate our funds and our energy is so fucked up everywhere. On both sides,
And what are those intentions, though? What are the intentions? In life, there's two intentions, Howie.
What are the two intentions? Power?
Either good intention or bad intention. I don't think COVID and the vaccines and whatever were truly, in my opinion, 100% good intentions. I do believe
if working on the vaccine may not have been good intentions. I believe that working on the virus was maybe not a good intention. I believe that working
that pharmaceuticals companies typically do not have good intentions, and it's about
money.
I
think their intention is about money.
Yeah.
Well, of course. So who made the most money during that time?
The pharmaceuticals.
You think there was any intention there? Or you think that's just by luck?
I do think that a lot of luck was involved. I don't think that they were behind releasing I don't. And that's because I have to have more faith than you in mankind in order to exist each and every day. If I truly believed there was that much evil and that much darkness, it would be hard for me to.
There's wars going on right now. There's people slaughtering one another.
I know.
We bombed people.
And that fucking kills me.
And we bombed people in the name of weapons of mass destruction that were never there. They say that a tower went down because of Osama bin Laden. So then we go into Afghanistan.
I'm with you.
Our children get slaughtered.
I'm with you.
You don't believe in bad, evil doing? It exists it exists everywhere.
I think you do agree with him, and you believe that. I think that your point is, for someone who deals with mental health, he tries to figure out a way to cope and go through life each day. And that doesn't help.
I have friends very close to me who had a very difficult time, and they were foaming at the mouth against everything I was saying. And when I really broke down, it's a lot of us can't comprehend that pure evil exists. A lot of us don't want to admit or face that pure evil exists in humanity.
Well, I believe we're born.
I don't either.
Well,
I'm always looking for the love and all that, but they do exist.
But listen, here. Can I just? I want to stop you as you say that.
Sure.
Pure evil. It sounds like a character from a movie. Evil. You know this, as a parent, we are evil. I mean, you see that we are born. When you have your baby, before you teach your baby anything, when you look at a human being, before they learn, if you put a baby beside another kid of yours, and that kid is eating the cookie, that baby will reach over and grab the cookie. There's no thought, I want that cookie. There's no thought that, wait, that's not my cookie. There's no thought of sharing. If the baby grabs that cookie away and then the sibling gets mad at them and grabs it back, that baby will lean over and probably bite the hand to try to get the cookie back. They'll bite, they'll kill, they'll fight. That's our natural instinct. We teach is that, do you need the cookie to survive? You just want the cookie. No, you just want the cookie. So the point is, we want what we want, and we get security from getting stuff, whether that cookie is the money, whether that cookie is the power, whether that cookie is the ability to say, I'm stronger than you, then don't fuck with me. And then we have to, I think it is put upon each and every one of us in our microcosm of life to raise people. You know, people say to you and me in the business, how do you want to be remembered? Well, we fucking won't be remembered. You don't know your grandfather's father's name. I bet you don't know. So we're not going to be remembered. The only legacy you have are those 3 girls. And that will continue on and how they are and the children that they have and how they're taught. So when we kind of involve ourselves with theory of what's happening beyond us, I think we injure ourselves. I think we bring ourselves down. It's fight or flight. It forces us to fight. It forces us to not trust. And we need to keep that innocence and trust and goodness within ourselves.
I agree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. It's hey, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. When it really amped up, was when they were pushing for the card at the venues that I already booked. And that's when I really, that's when it really, when the spotlight came on me, because all I did was just make a simple video, which I had no clue would go viral. And I just said, I'm canceling those shows. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to go and take a shot to go laugh at a venue. Like, if you don't want to go to the venue and you're scared, don't go. It's okay. If you want to go there and wear your mask, knock yourself out. But if you're gonna, now you can't see me unless you get a shot, well then now, and that's what really started the whole thing. I mean, the next thing you know, it's like Tucker's calling me, and then, you know, the news is viciously trying to take me down.
By that, listen, I'm not a proponent of that either. The point is, but at the time,
yes, they
didn't want to force or allow what they called at the time a super spreader. I'll tell you a little story just to
go ahead, and I'll tell you a story.
Okay, my story's first, but without giving too much away, you know, I have a grandchild that is immune compromised right now. Okay. And really, and a cold is as bad as COVID or whatever. Okay. So we have to, in certain places, we have to wear a mask. Okay. My daughter and I, when we wear a mask, and if she ever shows up on the air with a mask for whatever reason, the attacks,
vitriol, like in my Instagram, I think there's been a couple times where I posted a story of me hanging out with my son. Haven't really mentioned anything about my son in social media, but I was wearing a mask with him because of whatever our situation is. And the amount of comments and hate and disgust that I get in the comments, and they have no idea what my situation is. They have no idea what I'm doing. And I don't, like, why does anyone care what anyone else is deciding to do is what I don't understand. And it's just crazy to me.
So what I'm saying is, if at the time, in order to, for insurance reasons, see, this is what I understand. It was just for business. For insurance reason, if somebody went to a Jim Breuer concert and then got incredibly sick and somehow traced it back to that, the venue, the promoter could have been sued. We are a very litigious country. So they were making people, and what I'm saying to you is, I would have said, do the concert and say to people, if you don't want to come, then don't come. If you want to come, this is what they're doing for insurance reasons. By the same token, it's kind of like, we're just, somebody's going to sue them, whether they're right or wrong.
I understood that, and I understood that. Again, there was a lot of people that didn't want to go to that length. So I felt, if I'm in a position, the last thing I ever want to do, because I'm going to tell you a story about my best friend's daughter, who I'm not saying this is what caused it, but when the swine flu was around,
Right.
the schools made her get vaccinated. She went paralyzed the next day. Now, of course, the doctors and everyone, their mother will say, oh, there's no correlation and blah, blah, blah.
And there could very well be a correlation.
By miracle of choice of the gods, this 5-year-old kid, after getting vaccinated, I'm not saying that's what caused it, went paralyzed.
Right. And I know people who had COVID shots that got blood clots and had issues. I also know people that got vaccinated that got mildly ill. Now, I can't say they might have only gotten mildly ill because of it, but I personally was betting on it. Right.
So where I was coming from is the people that felt my way, meaning we don't need a vaccination.
Okay. Which I respect.
We don't want a vaccination, but at that time, the world was pressuring us. You got your president screaming at us.
Right.
You have every news channel. You got Chris Cuomo insulting me. You got Gene Simmons insulting me. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger, Howard Stern, everyone and their mother, people that I really looked up to and admired, are not only saying, do this, they were insulting you, or you're a this or you're a that, and you're the issue and you're the problem. But there was many of us that knew we weren't the problem. And the last thing I want to do is put those people in a position where now they were like, damn, even Jim Breuer's doing a show where you got to get vaccinated now. I don't want to do that to anyone. And there were people that do that because I was invited to do this big concert event. I don't need to say in the band. But they asked me, hey, do you got the car? I said, no, I don't have it. And they're like, all right, well, you can't participate. So it was 2 arena shows plus a theater show with them. And I couldn't do it and wouldn't let me do it. And that's okay. I respect their decision. But the amount of people that I saw online going, I really want to go to the show, but I don't want to get vaccinated. But to see them, I guess I'll get vaccinated. I don't ever want to put a human in that choice.
But that's not. But you didn't.
I didn't, and that's why I did that.
No. But what I'm saying is, what you're doing is you're taking much more responsibility than you need to take, because the thing is, you could have still done the show, and it's up to me whether, if I am not vaccinated but I have to and I want to see you and I have to have a vaccine to see you. Yeah. It's up to me whether I want to get the vaccine. So you're not putting anybody in a position. You're not. But they are put in a position, ultimately it was just liability. It's liability. That's all it is. Right. It's a money play.
So it comes down to money. And if money's the root of all evil, then it's coming from a bad place. If you worry just about money rather than people's mental health and their physical health, then you're spreading a lie. And that's where the issue, where me personally, I was coming from.
I don't think.
And I know you don't believe that. I believe that.
No, I respect what you're saying. I respect your belief. I also respect somebody who, is aware or has had a bad result from a previous vaccine, or doesn't believe that they've spent enough time on it and is just scared, and whatever reason that is. I chose to have the vaccine. And if somebody chose not to have the vaccine, I also chose whether I wanted to be right next to them. If I was worried because I knew that they were out in public a lot, and I was scared because I'm a germaphobe anyway. I'm a guy who didn't shake hands before
I would
or
imagine
after.
You were in serious trouble during that time.
I mean, COVID was just Howie world, and the truth of the matter is, I respect that. But whether I think pharmaceuticals are evil and this was created just to make money, I don't believe that. I personally believe that this happened, it got out of hand, and there was a lot of irresponsibility involved in allowing this to get out of hand, and they could have fucking killed the world with this kind of operation. I believe at the time they thought mass immunization is the answer for everyone, and maybe it isn't the answer for everyone. And because of that, if I was a venue, if I was, Live Nation and whoever, I wouldn't want to be put in a position where I am liable to a lawsuit because I got sick at a Jim Breuer concert. And mildly, like a cold, but I went home and my grandfather, who's 96, who would have died in 3 months anyhow, got my cold and died. What a great target for Live Nation to pay millions and millions of dollars. And ultimately, everybody, including us, we're in show business, is making business decisions to the best, using the best knowledge they have at that moment.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I know it was all about insurance. It was all about insurance and money. At the end of the day, they didn't want to take those risks, and I don't have an issue with that.
Right, but that's different. That's different than saying that there's an underlying conspiracy to get us. I don't think it came from the venues. I think it came from much higher, and I do believe it was that. I do believe 1,000% it was that. Wow.
That's just me, though.
No, it's not just you. It's a lot of people. You're not.
And there's nothing that you can ever do to convince me otherwise. Because when I look at it from afar, the way they sold it, what they did during that time, what they did with the information, how they stifled information, where people were coming out and screaming, saying, I'm saving people on hydrochloroquine. I'm saving people on ivermectin. And to have those voices stifled and just push a vaccine. And you and I both know about media. It's run by, it's all well looked at. They're not flying off the seat of their hands, and it's coming from a well-organized place. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Well, what they're trying to do, here's what they're doing. The media is no different than what you and I do. And they're trying to get eyeballs. And if they're not selling tickets, they're trying to sell viewers. And the way they sell viewers is fear, bullshit breaking news. They both have a lot, I'm saying both, but both sides are operating multiple 24-hour systems that have to be constantly fed. How do you get somebody to that? It's got to be a fucking magnet. What is a magnet? Fear, vitriol, bullshit, conspiracies, everything. And they're both doing that on both sides. And that's why I don't watch TV anymore. What I do, I talk to the unhoused because they've got their finger on the pulse of the streets.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. That's where I get most of my news.
That's good. That's why you're so informed.
You know, Howie, I remember being a kid and I realized if news was truly there to inform us and make our lives better, they would pump out 24/7 how to take care of one another, beautiful things that happen a day. And I've listened to people say the argument of like, well, that don't sell. Well, how can you say that if you never tried it? I don't buy that theory. That I believe it is a part of either a government thing or whatever.
It's just a business.
Or whoever's in control. I know, but it's an evil business. They sell wars. They sell murder.
But everybody,
they sell hatred. They sell judgment. They sell pornography. They sell drugs. That is not good for humanity. And I don't want to. And if you're making $1 on taking advantage of people's emotions, their actions.
Don't you think religion does that too?
You're not coming from somewhere good.
Don't you think religion does that too? And not any
I'm
one
not talking
particular.
about religion. I have nothing to do with religion. They're not in my face 24/7 telling me to get vaccinated, and they're not telling me what war I should join and who I should support, and they're not telling me who I should hate.
No, I think they are.
Well, maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them do.
Yeah, I think they do. I think that if you're not following the rules of whatever.
But do you see what I mean? We're talking about news. We're talking about media. I'm not talking about church. That's a whole different animal. We can go into that. I have no problem going into that.
Because that'll be funny too.
There's a really cool, I've talked about this before, and I tell people that I know, there's a really cool site on social media called Ground News. And it's based out of Canada, but it's really funny because if you're Canadian, you can't get it because the government doesn't allow it to be published on social media in Canada. But it's called Ground News, and it's supposed to be where they put the top headlines that are coming out, and they show you those headlines from multiple different sources so that you can see the biases in all the different headlines. And then they also tell you which news stories are being covered by a left biased media more so than a right side of me. It's just really cool to see the stories that are coming out and who's covering them and how they're covering them and wording each of the
scariest
headlines.
thing that's good input. The scariest thing I ever saw, I watched that. What was that documentary about how they're controlling us with our algorithm?
Oh, the social media.
Yeah.
God, yes.
But to me, that's what
That's
news
scary.
is. That's everything. That's Facebook and how they and what they've done is they've created all of ours. We create our truth, our reality. Our reality, we end up being our algorithm, even in life, from the people that we're talking to, what we're talking about. We're really changing. We used to all have this shared experience. We don't have a shared experience anymore. It depends how wide you want to spread your wings. But most people don't spread their wings outside of whatever they create as a community.
Right. No, that's very true. I remember years ago, oh my God, I was trying to meet a marketing company. It was in New York, and somebody knew these people, and they worked in a big corporation like Kraft or something. I don't know. And all I remember is like almost 15 years ago. High-end security was at the top of the building in New York City. The guy run the whole floor, and they sat down. And they checked our, they wanted to make sure we weren't recording or anything. And they basically were showing us all this, where they said, we can tell just by your phone and what you buy exactly how to target you. And we're going to nonstop target you. So if you like looking at pizza, we're going to hit you with all different pizzas nonstop. If you bought Puma shoes, we know now they're going to study every human being with what they consume visually and through out of pocket, that they know how to control you, as long as you're on that phone. And it is, I mean, we all know by now, if we say, boy, I really could use a trip to Hawaii, by the time we're done with this podcast, we're going to get something on our phone that says Hawaii.
Well, I know. The other day I went to the bathroom, went to the men's room in a restaurant. I put down my iPhone on the sink and I went to the urinal and did whatever I had to do. When I got back to my phone, I had 3 ads for penis enlargement.
I knew that's was going to be your joke. How did I know that was going to be your joke?
It's not a joke. So I don't know. They're watching you. What do you want to plug? You're going on the road. I see that.
Yes,
you're one of the funniest guys.
And,
can I just say that your stand-up is you're one of my favorite stand-ups. You are so fucking good and funny and energetic and physical. And if Jim Breuer you don't need a card now. If Jim Breuer is in your town, you can see him. You can see him. There's no reason not to see him. And then also your singing is good. Are you doing any?
I haven't. I made an album a while ago, but I don't. People don't want to see me sing. They don't care. But I remember seeing years and years ago, I forgot what comedian, and he came out with a band. I went, what are you doing? I don't want to see this one.
Really? I used to be a big fan.
I can sing.
I was a big fan of Baywatch, and I always I bought all of David Hasselhoff's albums.
Wow, good for you. Did you follow him around? Did you go see him at shows or no?
You also took his job, didn't you?
I took his job.
Yeah.
You did take his job.
I did.
Good for you.
You know why? Because he became controversial. There's a lesson.
People don't like the way he babysits with hamburgers on the ground and the drinking. Talk about him and his daughters.
Yeah. This was a pleasure. I really like it.
It's my pleasure. Well, thank you. Yeah. And we now get along. I'm so proud of this young lady. And I'm proud of yours, who's got 85% of an education. I'm so proud of yours.
No, it sounds like 98, like closer to 99%. There's just one more little class.
Tell her congratulations. Tell her congratulations, and you have a beautiful family. And I wish you success. I hope we get to cross paths in person.
Me too.
Real soon again. Too.
You guys should go kayaking together.
Not with alligators.
No.
He loves when they duck under the kayak.
Yeah. No, you're not the kayaking type.
I'm not no adventure. My adventure is checking into a hotel that has room service that quits at 10.
Yeah.
Oh God! I go to Africa. Would you ever do safari?
I did Disney World. We did the African
safari park,
the African resort where you stay in that motel, and if you look out your window, they have a giraffe. And I'm telling you,
you want to go to Japan? That's your thing.
That's not an.
No, but I'm saying like that you'll travel. That's your adventure, going to Japan. Maybe
I'm
one
very
day.
bougie. I don't want to get dirty or wet or sweaty.
I got you. I
No,
don't
you
blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
You want to go to Africa? Isn't that a bunch of shots to go to Africa?
No,
No,
not where I go. No, not where I go. I've been there 7 times. Been to Tanzania, Kenya, South
you've had
Africa.
a bunch of shots.
Wait, I went to Africa. I went to South Africa, and I had to get a bunch of shots. Where did you go that you didn't need? Where the fuck? What planet?
I know a guy.
No malaria? You didn't take a malaria pill?
No. You guys are living in two different worlds.
I think the first time I went to, I think it was in Tanzania, and we brought malaria pills.
Right.
And I would have the most vivid, frightening dreams every night. I mean, it was horrifying. And I wasn't getting any sleep. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take the yellow fever. I'll take malaria. Whatever comes, I'll deal with it. And I never, I just stopped taking it. And since then, I've been there multiple times, and I've never taken anything. I bring ivermectin. I'm being dead honest. I bring ivermectin. If something happens, it's a parasite killer. Boom, boom. Most of the time, it's a parasite and knocks it right out.
You should get them to sponsor your podcast.
That's not a bad idea.
I know it's a good idea. I'm an idea guy. You
want percentage of that?
Jim Breuer, yes.
I'll give you percentage.
Jim Breuer, brought to you by ivermectin.
I'll do that.
All right.
I'll give you a percentage.
All right. And good luck on the bike. Deal. I see what you did there. Thank you, buddy. That's Jim Breuer, everybody. Talk to you later. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye.